Getting rid of the dreaded Binkies. Dentists tell people we need to take away Binkies at 3 years of age or before. You don't want to have damage happen to the baby teeth because that sometimes will affect how the adult teeth will grow in. So 3 years of age is kind of the target that you want to get rid of a Binky if your kid relies on them. I have taken away the Binkies with 2 of our 3 kids, but it was different with both kids, so I just thought I would share with you some tips, and hopefully it'll help you in this task that might be in your future. Maybe you haven't done it yet, maybe you're dreading it. It's not gonna be that bad. It won't be as bad as you think it is, and if it is, you're going to get to the other side. You are going to overcome this mountain that looks to be huge right in front of you, but you are going to overcome it. It's going to be great when you're on the other end. Let's encourage each other and support each other while we are trying this feat. What we ended up doing was one of the tricks is kind of a slow and steady tactic. We started taking Binkies away so there weren't as many in the house, so we limited the quantity in the house, and then we also limited the location. We ended up only allowing our sons to have the Binkies when they hit about 2, 2.5 in their beds or in their cribs, depending on where they're sleeping. We wanted to make sure that the Binkies weren't easy to grab anywhere else in the house, and they only had it for nap time and bedtime. So that's how we started the process. For Luke, we realized we had to change our tactics when it came to channeling and redirecting his attitude to different topics to be able to refocus, because he'd focus so much on where's my Binkies, where are my Binkies, where are my Binkies. And to start, especially if he was having a tantrum or getting really upset, we would allow him to take his quiet time, or we call it go change your attitude. Instead of timeout, we have them go change their attitude. If he needed to go change his attitude in his room with his Binkies, we allowed that. So we did that for a few months. For Carter, we did then a cold turkey effect. We ended up just all circling around the trash can in our kitchen. We said that we were having a goodbye ceremony for the Binkies, and that Binkies were gonna go to Binky Land. And we threw them in the garbage, we said goodbyes, and then we shut the garbage, and my husband took the garbage out, and there were no more Binkies in the house. We really wanted with Carter, our first, to get Binkies out of the house and not around him before we had a second kid. We were worried that once he saw the baby's Binkies, he would want a Binky too. So we ended up transitioning him about 3 to 4 months before I had Luke, my second. Now Luke and Shep, it was a little different story because they are closer in age. And Luke was nowhere near ready to give up his Binkies when I ended up giving birth to Shepherd. We weren't able to take the Binkies away like I would have loved to do and only have the baby have the Binky. So that is okay too. So no, we've done it both ways. I think it's definitely easier for the older kid to not have Binkies around for a couple months before the baby comes. And then it's just, oh, that's babies, and there's no confusion of whose Binky's who. We ended up having specific kinds of Binkies. Our favorite Binkies, this is not an ad, we just love the product, is the Waba Nubs. It's the Binky with the animal on the end. Our second Luke had safari theme. He had the giraffe, the monkey, and the elephant. And those were his. So then when we ended up having Shep, we decided to do black and white for his nursery. So all of his Waba Nubs were the black and white ones. There's a dog, there's a penguin. So know that it is possible to be able to know this one's yours, this one's not, to help you differentiate if you end up having 2 kids at the same time with Binkies. With Carter, we did cold turkey after limiting the number of Binkies in the house and did a ceremony, bye-bye Binkies to Binky Land. With Luke, it was a little different. We did start limiting the number of Binkies in the house, And then we limited it to only nap time and bedtime, and if you need to go change your attitude. And then we ended up going on a trip where he was just doing a lot more activities, and I tend to like to do big shifts in their life, especially at home, whether it's shifting to a big boy bed or shifting to a new pattern and structure. We do it after a trip because patterns and structures and routines end up getting messed up on trips. So then when we come back, it's a great restart, refresh, let's start new and do something different. So I ended up just taking all the Binkies out of his bed, total cold turkey, and I just told him they went to Binky land. They were no more Binkies, and to be honest, it was tough. Bedtime was not as hard as nap time. Nap time was normally, he'd put the Binky in his mouth, he'd soothe himself really well, and now he doesn't have that. We do have stuffed animals in his bed, but it wasn't the same. He liked the sucking, he liked the feel, playing with him. So that was a hard struggle. It did take about 2 weeks for naps to get back to normal. Luke would start jumping on his bed, doing things that he normally wouldn't do, normally wasn't allowed. So as a parent, I really had to stay on top of it. I had to be very consistent with the rules. We do not jump on our beds. When it's quiet time, we're quiet. You can either sit in your room and read, or you can lay down quietly, but mommy does not want to hear you or see you. That's quiet time in the Team Grayson household. We don't want to hear you or see you. So that was a struggle, to be honest, for a couple weeks for Luke. But then he shifted. He realized it was a new normal. After a week, he stopped asking for the Binkies. After 2 weeks, he started settling down in naps because I, as the parent, and my husband, we were working as a team and we were being very consistent with nap times and bedtimes, that it's not playtime anymore. It's quiet time and you need to go to bed. Now, we can't force a child to sleep, but we can put rules and guidelines and put our foot down to let them know it needs to be quiet. So I hope that helps you a little bit with what we've done getting rid of Binkies. I'll maybe do an update when we end up doing it with Shep, but he's only 10 months now, so we have a while. But I hope this encourages you to not be scared of taking the Binkies away. Know that you as the parent have the power and have the control. Don't let your kids manipulate you in thinking that they should have a Binky forever, and help them know that it's for their best purpose to not have a Binky. Recapping, you can do it cold turkey, you could do it slow and steady, you can limit the number of Binkies in the house so there aren't as many. Another idea that we never had to do, but another idea is either poking a hole at the end of the Binky or cutting it off, snipping it, so there's no suction. So those are just some quick tips of how to go through the process of transitioning away from Binkies. And if you want to hear more, make sure you hit the subscribe button in the corner or click the notification button down below so you are updated on when our next video comes live.